What's up, everybody? This is Enlightened Masculinity Podcast. I have another great recycled episode from the Science of Spiritual Growth series, and it's a bit of a time capsule. It's from about 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago at the time of this, release. And this is from the early days of the original Base One. This is where I was living with the world's top relationship guru, AZD, also known as Arash Zepar Dibazar. It's the alpha mentality. And what's so interesting is Arash has always been teaching about the alpha mentality, but it goes through evolutions as he's in more new relationships, as he teaches hundreds of guys. And it's kind of a mastermind where everybody's, bringing their issues, bringing the problems of the relationship, bringing their wins and successes in relationships. And so it's a mastermind group that we learn a lot about male psychology, female psychology. And this episode is called the Alpha Male Relationship Mindset. So it's a bit of a time capsule. Like I said, you'll see the evolution as you go through all the Enlightened Masculinity episodes. So hopefully you hear some of the timeless truths and also some of the growth in myself as I'm explaining things. And throughout the episode, if you hear me refer to Science of Spiritual Growth, it's because it's a recycled podcast episode from that show. But I'm deleting that show, and this is Enlightened Masculinity, a red pill show about masculinity and spirituality. And I hope you enjoy. Welcome. This is Science of Spiritual Growth podcast. It's also doubling up as a philosophy of love lecture. Philosophy of Love is a synthesis of training that I've done with Arash Dibazar, who is, in my opinion, the foremost dating expert on earth. And I'm a protege of him. I understand the information better than anybody, but my delivery is catching up to it. So you'll see that. And that's one of the things that I improve is this thing called congruence. Congruence, where the vibe of the information and knowledge equals the vibe of the delivery. All right. So let's get started. So this will be part of the Science of Spiritual Growth. It's not a typical Science of Spiritual Growth topic going into philosophy of love. This part 4 lecture is what I call take care of her value, the take care of her value. We call it survival value, replication value. These are common terms in evolutionary psychology and mating dynamics. Survival value for replication value, provider value, provisions. But I'm calling it a different phrase here. I'll call it the take care of her value. Take care of her. And what does that mean is going to be different for everybody. Different people need different needs. Obviously, the basic food, shelter, water, a baby. But take care of her in the what's going on today, where everybody and every man she knows is just throwing things at her, throwing love, throwing affection, throwing shelter, throwing food. And of course, they all have their agendas, but, women, they don't like to hear about that. They want the free stuff, but they don't care about the agendas and just hope nothing bad happens. The worst that'll happen is you grow old and you've developed relationships with multiple men, none of whom want to take care of you, until you get knocked up by one of them, and then they'll all want a genetic test. None of them will be sure. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. This is the first principle. They are only as good as the world allows them to be. Most men are not willing to step up and say, I would want to be with multiple women if I could. There was a woman, very attractive woman, who messaged me the other day. She said, it was a reply. I forget everything that was said. Oh, I asked her, what did she think of one of my posts? Somehow it was a gender role post. I forget which one it was. And she said something like, she wants monogamous. She thinks there are monogamous men, and that it's not worth the risk of STD. This is the part. It's not worth the risk of STDs or the problems of multiple relationships, like the drama that comes up. It's not worth it. And I was like, what about for a man? She's like, it's not worth it for him either. And I was like, both things? Because I'm thinking, of course, no guy wants STDs. That ruins it ruins your mateability going forward. So you be smart about that. And any man that's really trying to be a player knows that the quality of women you are getting with will influence the quality of women that you get, that they see each other. And so that doesn't make sense to, do it wastefully, stupidly. But the problems of multiple relationships is only a problem for a woman trying to have multiple relationships. The problems of a man trying to have multiple relationships is a pleasure. It's not a problem. It's a pleasure to have the problems of multiple relationships. It's nice. It's especially if the man has embraced the fact that he would be more fulfilled, be more a source of confidence and esteem and power and tact and skill for his women or woman if he embraces that he wants to go for multiple women. That doesn't mean all women are equal. It means there's the woman you want to take care of or the women you want to take care of and the rest. And maybe there's some delineations in between. It's a scale, you know, people get closer, further, whatever, but you're taking care of her she she's just some hoe, whatever. Or maybe you're training her to get her to take care of, but you know, at some point she is going to ask you to take care of her. You can suggest it lightly, but you're not going to push taking care of her. That's like chasing someone to sell them something. It doesn't work. Principle 2 here. I got like 20. I don't know why I call them principles. That's just what they are, so to speak. Bullet points. You have these rules and you think they'll save you. Okay, this gets back to the core value. You have these rules that you think they'll save you in the relationship if she texts this way or at this time or these messages in this way, these replies, she doesn't interact with, in whatever. If the bottom line is she agrees with it or she doesn't. And if she agrees with it, it's not a headache. It shouldn't be a headache. And if it is, if you got to keep convincing her over and over, those rules are not saving you in the relationship. You don't have enough value to her. Value is subjective. Remember that. Value is always value to who. Famous is always famous to who. If you're not famous to me and you're famous, you're not famous to me. I don't know who you are if you're not famous. Value is subjective, right? Survival value, replication value. I'm calling survival value a take care of her value. But there's more to it because you need to attract her to, I mean, you can take care of girls. I can take care of multiple women, but getting women to want to be taken care of, because that's what it needs for them to submit. And if they're not submitting, you're not in a real relationship. It's a very clear delineation. When the woman starts submitting, it's not that she doesn't have a mind of her own. It's that it's a submissive nature to yours, a submissive vibe. And they'll feign, you got to watch out. They'll feign submissiveness, but really that's what they're giving every guy. The deeper submissiveness is the talking of the touchy topics. That's a nice way to say it, the talking of the touchy topics. Opening up in the vulnerabilities, we'll get into that. So don't have so many rules on these relationships. My next relationship is not going to have so many rules, but there's some basics here. One, you need to be polite and respectful as a woman. And when it stops getting polite and respectful, and I am guilty of losing my outflow of respect. And in so turn, you lose the inflow of respect. You lose somebody's respect when you lost respect for yourself, but that's what it is. When you stop respecting other people, it's because you lost self-respect. What else is it? Everybody in your environment is in your mind. And if you stop respecting them in your mind, you're just disrespecting your own part of your mind. And that's just another part of your mind that's disrespecting your mind. Okay, get it? So they're in your mind. Everybody you're relating to is in your mind. If you disrespect them, you're disrespecting your own mind. Why would you do that to yourself? Because there's disrespect in you. Florida. Okay, so when you start losing respect, that's the practice. That's the practice that you cannot get outside of a relationship. You cannot get the practice of being so close, vulnerable, intimate with somebody and having to deal with it and not run away. Because if you just keep running away from the difficult person into the easy person's arms, well, you'll get a bunch of easy people that don't value loyalty, and you'll miss out on all the high value relationships in life. You think they're valuable because they feel okay, but you're missing a reference. You're missing a reference of real value and real dynamic. Dynamic means energy flows between two things. Like there's a dynamic. You get like physics, you get dynamics where three or more bodies are moving on each other. Okay, so be polite, be respectful, be a lady. A lady dresses conservatively, not too much skin. If you show too much skin, I mean, that's not ladylike. I mean, there's nobody that comes to mind that you were like a lady besides Lady Gaga, that whore, eats babies. Look it up. She eats babies. It's gross, right? That's who people admire. That's disgusting. So what was I saying? Conservatively, not showing too much skin. Think of anybody that you think is a lady. You're not going to see too much skin. And don't talk to other guys. I mean, if she's talking to other guys, it's not going to work, because what'll happen is anytime you try to discipline her, because that's what it takes. She needs discipline, and you can't make all discipline pleasure. Not all discipline is pleasure. It's a self-study, and you've been bypassing long-term gratification, delayed gratification for short-term gratification. You got to see that, so there's no discipline in that. You just go for what's available, right? So don't talk to other guys, because every time you go to discipline her, she'll just go talk to the other guy. She thinks maybe that's what you're going to do when you have other girls. It's different because you're in the lead. And if you're with a girl that's talking to other guys and you're not talking to other girls, she's in the lead for sure. Or you need to have some amazing imagination, pretend skills, like amazing. And truthfully, you need to be talking to other girls. Okay. Kat, this would be good for you. First, okay, what is this? First, we fall back in love with our life. This is where it starts in the relationship. You fall back in love with your life and start the relationship from being in love with your life. What are some things you enjoyed if you lost everybody in your life? Everybody. If you lost everybody, what would you do? I mean, I know I would play guitar. I know that I would do yoga. I know I would love nature. I know I would still go meet new people. If there was nobody left on earth, that's a different question. But if I lost everybody I knew a big portion would be just meet new people. It's so easy to meet people. So easy. Even as a guy, it's easier as a girl, because she just, everybody comes. Now, if she wants high class, high quality, I mean, that's a whole different story. We need to take a different lecture for that. But start with, what are some things you enjoyed? I've always enjoyed interacting with people. You can't not give a fuck without giving a fuck. This is a mind fuck. You can't not give a fuck without giving a fuck. You have to give a fuck about not giving a fuck to be so adamant about not giving a fuck. You get it? You have to care so much about not caring in order to say, I don't care. So it's a trap. They rest on each other. Not caring and caring are opposites. There's another word for not caring. You could say anything like hot, not hot. Fast, not fast. I mean, whatever adjectives, that, pretty, not pretty. So it's opposite, right? To not give a fuck and give a fuck are opposites. So actually, just like yin yang, when you go all the way to one side, the opposite, it's right there. So to not give a fuck so much, you give a fuck. And to give a fuck so much means you don't give a fuck about everything else. So they exist at both times with each other. Why is that important? I don't know. It's just a mind fuck. It's part of it. So to protect yourself in the relationship, I don't know how much I've done this. A lot of these things, they resonate and stand out to me because I see my errors in my relating with women. And some of them are just mind fucks, like that last one. So this one, see how, chew on it in your mind, mentally chew on this. Protecting yourself is by definition prey. Protecting yourself is by definition prey. Now, I don't mean like physical, like somebody's coming at you, but protecting yourself like you don't want to get hurt. It's different from having bad game. People have bad game and they're careless versus being maybe worried or concerned about, is it the right move or not? Like moving in a way that's it's a subtle thing. You really need to know strategy of dating and look at somebody to notice. It would be like if you were watching somebody wrestle or grapple, you could tell if they were trying to protect themselves instead of attacking. There's an injury or they're protecting themselves. If you do that, you get attacked. Because remember, to not give a fuck is to give a fuck. They're opposites. When you go all the way to some direction, the opposite is there. When you go all the way to prey, protecting yourself, the attack comes. And this happens in the relationship dynamic with the woman. As soon as you start apologizing, she starts attacking you. As soon as you start actually being nice and kind, she starts attacking you. It's amazing. As soon as so you got to be cocky funny with her, which is like humorous, but arrogant, kind of cocky at the same time. Negging is kind of in that, is like a term to say like how you're talking. That's versus being cocky funny. Cocky funny is like cocky funny, but a neg is cocky funny usually, but not all cocky funny is negging there, if that makes sense. So where was I in this? Protecting yourself, like the martial artist or the wrestler that's guarding himself instead of attacking. It's not that you attack the woman, but you do attack her weak mind. She has an absurd mind. I noticed this girl that just a few hours outside of my influence, and it's a stupid post. It's dumb. There's something she posted she contradicts herself, and it's like, what are you doing? I get it. If you don't, I don't expect, there's very few women, what's that name? Candace Owens. Candace Owens is a sharp woman, and she's very pretty, and she's sharp. Now, I don't like that so much, the aggressiveness. It's very not feminine. She's pretty to look at, but when you hear her talk, it's like, man, I wouldn't even want to have a beer with that. Like, she needs to slow down. But what was I saying? Protecting yourself. Anyway, yeah. So when you start being nice to her, so even when you apologize, you need to find a way to be hard, be firm, be strong. Don't be a little bitch. I was a little bitch when I apologized in past relationships. I'm going to firm up because fuck it. You know what? It's worse. It's worse losing the girl because you go soft on her than losing the girl because you went hard on her. It's worse because you feel like such a weakling because you thought you were doing the right thing by being soft, but it turns out that you get preyed upon, right? Because you turn into prey. I don't hold up a shield. My move is a smile. I like this. I don't hold up a shield. My move is a smile. This is something I've been practicing. When I hear disturbing news by someone I care about, if you are a guy and you care about your girl and she tells you she's talking to another guy in some way, in some indirect way that she doesn't come out like she's doing something wrong. She's like, look at this or whatever. And it hurts for some reason because you thought it was different. Instead of guarding yourself, smile. Learn to smile and laugh at that. And it's usually, in my experience, almost every time, not as big a deal as you initially consider it. It's almost always not as big a deal as you consider it. Later, you'll realize how not a big a deal it was when you lose the girl. If you lose the girl, you realize how not big a deal it was. But then there's also the truth that it is some of a deal. Because you'll compromise yourself to get the girl back and realize it's still a problem, right? So new understanding needs to happen. It's not just a readjusting of boundaries with each other because that's going to go in her favor. And then in the end, that's going to go against her favor if the relationship with you is in her favor, which it should be, because it'll go against the relationship. If it goes in her favor, it's going to be a future problem. And it needs to go in both people's favors. Both people need to win. It's never one if one person wins and one person loses. That was last lecture yesterday. So when I'm silent, something picks up in her mind. When I fight, they're talking in their mind. Okay, I'm noticing this. She resists much more when you resist her. I have a notion of leading that is pretty dominant, I guess, in the voice. It's a firm voice. I talk a lot. So, once I get warmed up, then I'm smart. I'm fucking wicked schmott, man. I talk circles around these girls. Now, the catch is going to be keep it entertaining, light, and playful. They need to keep it fluffy. They can't go too deep, too heavy, these women. You'll lose the attention span. They're not there, really. They like to think they're smart. It's like, if I talk to a guy, you should see it. You should see a guy on my level. It's like 30 minutes, and so much information conveyed. Now, maybe not a lot of experience or feeling, because that's not how you talk with guys usually. It's dry, Women, they need an experience through conversation. Okay, we'll get into that. When you are arguing with her, her side of the argument, her perspective gets louder in her mind. When you shh and let her talk, usually she changes her own mind. She is not that solid. She is just used to fighting the world, and she's fighting you. You're giving her something to fight, and you decide if it's worth your time to, fight with her. And over time, not fight with her, but hold space for her. You decide if it's worth it to hold space for her. It's useful to show your skill and your ability to hold space. I do that in every relationship, the ability to hold space. I've also been the one that needed space held for me. And it's also fucked up both ways, where I wasn't available for like mentally to hold space. She wasn't available to hold space. It's an interesting idea to think of it like that, as holding space. Holding space to express and suspending judgment until the person is able to receive it. Because if you care about the person, you want them to express and you want them to open up. We'll get into that. It's coming up here. So let's see. We'll skip that one. This will be in the notes. In the silent flute, there's a bullet point here with some questions, but you need to catch it. Why am I the one who doesn't admire that when there are girls who do? So this will be, I think guys will have this kick up more. I don't know how it relates to women really. Although if you like a guy, if you like a guy, you just be interested in what he's interested in. It's really fucking simple. Women try to complicate things, and they hold themselves around by touching and offering sex. Like, that's great, but that's not how you get take care of me value. You're not going to get the take care of me value by offering sex. That sex is so cheap because women are hoes everywhere. Sex should be very, you could call it not expensive, but very valuable. It should be rare to be able to get sex from women. Sex is so easy to get from women these days. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Keep dicking lusciously. You know what I mean? Like, where was why am I the one who, you get him to take care of you by being interested in what he's interested in and then being loyal to him. So loyalty is rare, but be interested in what he's interested in and then just be loyal to him. What is loyal? I'm telling you, you may not have my rules on be a lady, dress conservatively, don't talk to other guys. Be a lady means soft and respectful. And I mean, it's like 4 things you have to do as a woman. It's like just those 4 things. Man has to do everything else. You can't even do those 4 things. But it's a value thing, when there's, and anyway, I'm getting off the point. Because sex is a way to get a guy in, and if he's got certain issues, then you can rope him in and get him in love with you. It's going to work out not in your favor ultimately in the most, if you're a champion, if you're a woman and you think you're a fighter, you should fight for the best relationship. And if you're a woman and you're not a fighter, then you should soften up and get the best relationship. You either fight for the best relationship or you just soften up and be so. If you're not a fighter, you're the opposite of that, then you're feminine. If you're a farmer, you're a feminine. If you're a fighter, you're masculine. If you're a fighter, then you need to fight for the best relationship. And if you're a farmer, you need to somehow attract the best relationship, get the best fighter, And the women that are fighters, you're going to go for a fighter that's stronger than you. That's the best relationship for you, so that you can turn farmer to just him and fighter, and you can still be fighter of the world. And he should make you a better fighter, right? So that's how you get a guy. So there you go. There you have it. There's your free advice. If you want to get a guy, you just get interested in what he's interested in. Soon you'll realize how kind of stupid what most guys are into, and they're not really fully into it. They don't know what commitment is. I know what commitment is. You should see. Well, this lecture is a testament to my commitment. You should see my notes. It's only going to get better and better. I'm going to do a fucking 100 of these, 150 of these. And I know it's Science of Spiritual Growth podcast. So you'll get this on the podcast channel. And this is probably outlandish to you even. It's a little out of character from what you know me if you're catching this on YouTube or iTunes or some of the apps or something. But I'll start a program or something. I don't know, philosophy of love or something. I don't know. And I'll just keep going through this stuff, Ain't no reason not to. I'm fucking Thoth from ancient Egypt. Look him up. Okay. This one's great. I love this one. Is it possible to feel secure if your security relies on the other person's actions? If your security relies on their actions, could you feel secure? Well, no. Like, the security is on your response. You should feel secure you can handle anything. Feel secure in your ability to respond to life. And if I just talk from guy perspective. I don't look at the girl's perspective unless I'm trying to get the girl. And maybe I'll try to look at the girl's perspective too. If she's talking to other guys, I'm not insecure about that, but the relationship is shaky. The relationship is not secure. it's not secure. Because what would security be? Security would be like not the threat of it separating. The relationship is just two people. If one person, it's so quick for a female to switch guys. Remember the quality of women that are in the world today. It's so easy for a woman to switch guys, and she almost never dumps a guy until she has another guy to get with. It's almost never. It's very rare. There's always enough, because guys are dogs and they'll just chase you down. It's so stupid. I've had so many friends that got a girl that had a boyfriend or was married, ended up marrying her, and then now later, guess what that bitch is doing to them? The same thing that she did to the last guy that he was the culprit of. You're linking the chain. I'm very proud of going after women that are fucking available when they're available. When they're not available, you don't go after them. Not at all. And I say go after, that's maybe false language because it like suggests chasing. But I do cast my lines, I am targeting. I do move the boat around in the lake and I'm looking for the best spot. So I'm seeking. It's not a chasing vibe. And I'll create to the best of my skill. And if I don't have the skill, then I bow out. If I don't have the skill, then I bow out. If I don't have the value, then I bow out. It's fine, It's fine to do that. And it's a thing that I'm interested to actually try out more. How much time would be reinvested in new romances and the positive effects it has on the old romance if you bow out, because every woman goes back to the guy that rejects her. We try to be the nice guys and show her we're not going to reject her, but she always goes back to the dickhead that rejected her. Always. You can even tell her that. She doesn't give a fuck. She's going to go back to the guy that rejected her. She doesn't think that's why, but she's totally uneducated on the subject. She is completely oblivious. She thinks in her fucking world of experience of 10 or 15 guys or whatever she's had in her life and gossiping with friends and whatever, that she knows something. She's got a stilted opinion of really what's going on. Because that's like saying you know something about the politics because you've voted and you've talked with 15 or 20 or 30 or 40, 50 friends about politics. You think you know something. You need to be informed on the meta scale, and you need to be informed on the underground information of the meta scale. Because if you just go meta scale, you get the narrative. Meta scale of relationships is a narrative. The underground of what's really happening, well, do you have a spine to stand up to that? She doesn't. You need to as a man. And you need to teach her how to stand up to her world. And she doesn't need to be standing up to guys, because guys are stronger than her and they're all a threat. They're all trying to get with her, and she wastes her energy and she takes that negativity back to you. She fucking gives them her niceness and then comes back to you with her negativity. Don't accept that shit. Bitch is more polite to other guys than for you. It's disgusting. That is so dirty. Okay, so insecurity, security is inside. Don't feel insecure about something out of your control. Just, it's out of your control. You can bow out. Create a really good life without the woman, and she'll just pop up in there. This is a great reminder to have. We got some new people on, quick, what do you call it? Roll call. Where are you at if you're just joining? I see some new names. Where are you at in the world? We got, I don't know who's still on. We had like Kentucky and Florida and Oregon. Okay. So create the really good life, and she's attracted. It's the good life. You want the good life. I want the good life. Now, my good life, I have certain values. I love wisdom. I love reading wisdom, synthesizing wisdom, teaching wisdom, and then implementing wisdom. And I'm sure it'll change throughout my life. I'm a fucking chameleon. But what is considered fun for me, and then you adapt it also. So you have your firm masculinity of this is what I do, but you also remember there was a few things back where I said, why am I the one that doesn't admire that thing when there are girls who do? So if girls like going out to do this activity, or they like doing that, you should be part of what you do as a man should be attractive to women. If it's not, then bravo, you're solid on your manhood, but where's the women? So, you calibrate that, because not everything in fact, most things that are not, that are pleasant don't really make money. The things that are the pleasures of the world are not the things that make money. That's why to keep the girl, you got to make money because you end up spending the money on her. You'll lose her when you run out of money, and she'll go for the next guy that has money. And because of her female value, she attracts that money to her until she reaches menopause. And then guys don't want to take care of her except for a fuck. And that's just the reality of it. When I'm silent, I mean, there's ways to seduce men if you're over 40 or 42 or whatever, but you need to learn, because if you don't have it yet, you are miseducated for 4 decades and you need to fucking start learning. When I'm silent, something picks up in their, oh, I already said that. Wait. Your job, okay, here's the communication. Your job is to open up a person. And women, this is how you could seduce men. So I'll tell you to do that. Now, you need to learn how to communicate. Women know how to communicate. They're used to communicating to a bunch of guys, bossing them around. She doesn't know how to communicate with you. Don't take offense when she doesn't know how to communicate, but take offense if she learns how to communicate and then sometime later she forgets how to do that. That's because she started talking to another guy. She started talking to another guy when she forgets what you've taught her because she's learned something else. And it's not always. You need to be sensitive to when it's like she forgot little things versus she changed a habit and then sometime later she changed the habit back. You catch her once or twice. It's like, what's happening? You can tell, you can hear it if you pay attention. It's very easy. Okay. So your job is to open the person, get them to collaborate. So you open them, okay, they start talking. Then you get back and forth, conversation. Then you get them to speak about vulnerabilities. So get them to talk about vulnerabilities. What's a vulnerability? Look it up. But I can say anything with an emotional heaviness to it, like you can see it like in their body, or just an emotional pull, really. I don't know other examples. I'm sure there are besides negative ones, but the heavy down kind of things, something like that, but get them to open and collaborate and then speak about those vulnerabilities. And as a guy, a lot of times that's going to come in the form of fucking ex-boyfriends. And that's like the worst thing for a woman to talk about. When you start talking about ex-boyfriends, we start imagining ex-boyfriends fucking you. And then we start hating you because you were so stupid that you gave it away. You gave it away to other guys. Wrong. You maybe one, if you've done more than 2, that's why bitches will say, I've only had 2 boyfriends. Like, what? Yeah, right. You're 29 years old. Fuck you. Think I'm stupid. Yeah, right. That's cool. All right. Get them to collaborate. So when they talk about ex-boyfriends, though, you need to recover quick. So I can joke right now and talk about how stupid that is for girls to talk about ex-boyfriends, but they need to express some shit. Nobody else has been able to have a masculine presence to that expression. They can complain to their girlfriends, but like, what kind of advice are they going to get for expressing their vulnerabilities to their girlfriends? They're just as stupid and lost as they are. So you need to recover your maturity. Maturity is a big theme that's going on in my life and in my teacher's life as this moves forward. It's very interesting. A lot of times I'll think of words and then like a day or 2 later, he starts lecturing on it. And I think it's just, I follow the logic. And so I'm on the logic. So you think ahead of what you say sometimes. So you got to think of it as, when the emotion splashes you and it gets heavy because she's talking about ex-boyfriend, I fucking hate that. Like, think of this phrase, recover your maturity. Recover your maturity sooner. Because what are you doing as a man if you're not being mature? You're losing value to her. DC, wow, 150, damn. I forgot what I said that I said 150. Let's see, do we have any, am I streaming on Facebook? Let's see. Got any comments here? Eric Siegler. Dude, bro, say it loud, say it proud. This guy, you were just hating on my post, Eric Siegler. You were just hating on my post like a day or 2 ago. I don't necessarily care about multiple women. Been there, done that. Guys say that a lot. They say that when they've hooked up with multiple women. Maybe when they've had some threesomes. If you don't want multiple women, you don't want one woman of value because she's going to need other women to hang out with. And if you are getting with other women at all, you're going to have haters. And no matter what, you're going to have haters. And if you're in just a one woman, one guy relationship where you don't even talk to other women, it's a matriarchal relationship and you lost your balls. you lose your balls in that so fast, you got to be having, because he's got other men so fucking close to fucking her and taking partial care of her that she just has hordes of men around her. You'd be surprised. They come out of the woodworks. They're like these fucking cockroaches. 3 months later, they're still coming out of the woodworks. It's like, what the fuck? How many guys have you promised yourself to here? It's absurd. Holy shit. So I don't necessarily care about multiple women. Been there, done that. All right, bro. Well, so, you know, when you have a beautiful woman, you need other women to hang out with her. And they need to be cool with you as a man, which also means partly, it's not that they're fucking you, it's that they're cool with you as a man. You're a man. And then they also can't be talking shit about you behind your back because, girl, you could do better, blah, blah, blah. Like, are you cool with him being with other women? Like, that's not cool. And then also guy friends. Like, you know, she doesn't need guy friends because they're all trying to get with her. So what if I just wanted a best friend? I found that. Yeah, I want best friends. I like having a family of best friends. And you can't have more than one guy in there because tigers will fight. The women roam in the tiger's territory, but you don't have two male tigers in the same territory. Cat. So you describe it. It sounds like insurance per se to ensure her loyalty. No, well, sort of. It's a security to the relationship because if she's not being loyal, she's being influenced by other men. And she's giving away your secrets because if it's a real relationship, she is being improved greatly by being with you. And she starts giving that edge. I had some notes on my past relationship where, you know, just some words that she told the guys that she was talking to. I'm like, you're fucking teaching them what I've taught you. Like, that's your relationship with them now. Like, it's fine that you're masculine and they're beta to you, but whatever, you're going to be beta to them sometime. Eventually you're going to turn beta to them because you have emotional fluctuations that they don't. And they're going to be smarter and wiser, and you just educated them on how to seduce you. And it's fucking stupid. So what kind of, and then you're spreading my wealth for no reason like that. Because, I mean, there's reasons. She always has her reasons to stay in contact with guys, you know? You just need to give her a better reason not to. And if you can't, then you bow out. Or you keep trying until it's not worth it. Okay. And did I finish this comment? I found that I hope I can be part of her life and we can both shine hard together. That's shining hard is a male quality. Shine hard is not a female quality. Shine hard. Just think about that. Shine is male. Reflect is female. Hard is male. Soft is female. So you don't want to hope that you both shine hard, and you don't want to be part of her life. You want her part of your life. And you can be part of her life. The truth is you will be part of her life. You're part of each other's life. But just the way that that's worded and how it came out with all the other stuff you said, it sounds like your frame is you feel lucky to be with her. You should feel lucky to be with her, but she should feel luckier to be with you. And if she's not, then the dynamic is off. You can't properly lead a woman that doesn't feel lucky to be with you. You know, if she wants, you know, she can get lucky with other guys. Okay, that's it on those comments. 150 lectures. That would be tremendous value. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see. This takes it up to about, I think, 9 or 10 pages. This is 4 lectures. So it's about 2.5 pages per lecture right now. Well, shit. I mean, some of the earlier notes, I have 800 pages of notes. So maybe it'll be like 300 lectures. We'll see. It's not about how many lectures. It's about, just like in the silent flute, there'll be a critical mass that is reached when I talk about this information so much and giving so much value to you all and my perspectives and my communication. I know, because I've trained my communication. I know it's valuable just to hear me talk, my pacing, rhythm. I look at it like that. I see my communication and I'm wicked schmott, man. I'm a fucking engineer of communication. I'll change your mind. I'll change your physical condition, your emotions, sometimes even negatively if I'm in a negative state of mind. So that's when sometimes I need to back down and be like, hey, I'm just in a toxic state right now. It's myself. I need to correct my, you know, because I'm human. And having awareness to be able to do that is a fucking path among all paths on this path. Okay. Shall we continue? Because almost done. What number am I on? 13, and there's 19. Okay. This one's interesting. I like this one. Feel sympathy for them if you're going to help them. Wow. Feel sympathy for them if you're going to help them. I went ahead and looked up sympathy. Sympathy in the dictionary is the feeling of pity or sorrow for someone else's misfortune, or an understanding between people, a common feeling. So an understanding between people is the one I want to go with. Understanding between people. Now, the etymology of it from the 1570s says the affinity between certain things. Okay, between certain things, they have affinity, meaning they come together. So sympathy, it's an affinity between your two understandings. An affinity between your two understandings. Sympathy. To sympathize with someone means you bend your understandings to what they need. I believe that's kind of my words. Okay. So if you want to help someone, you feel sympathy. If you want to help her, feel sympathy. I feel bad for all of my ex-girlfriends. I really do, because I know that it was best for them to be with me. The struggle of money or the struggle of food or whatever, like it would never have to be a struggle. It might not be exactly what you're wanting right now, baby girl, but it's fucking guaranteed. Unless I die, and then you'll know you are the widow of a real fucking man that went for his shit. Because go back to principle number 1 from today. They are only as good as the world allows them to be. They're not striving. You think they're striving, they're not striving. Because as soon as you get interested, it all ties together. As soon as you get interested in what they're interested in, because you want to get with that guy, you'll see how stupid and not committed he is. Or you'll see how fucking hella committed he is, and he's fucking some pocket genius, like closet genius on, like, I don't know, whatever he's a genius at. And then you'll fall in love with that thing, but then, the dynamic will happen if he's not talking to other girls, where he'll rely on you for admiration and of that thing. And when you take it away because he does some low value things, then he'll collapse further, which will push you away more, which will collapse further, push you away more, and he'll push you away because of low value other things. But learn to admire and appreciate the thing that he's a master at. And if he's a master at nothing, then fuck that. That's stupid. And the world is only allows them to be so good. So feel sympathy if you're going to help them. And I don't know. I forget how they tied together. It was a good connection there, but I forget what it was. So we'll just move on. Create an experience for them through the conversation so that they open up. So remember I said open, collaborate, and vulnerabilities. And open, collaborate, and vulnerabilities. So create an experience to open them up. How you do that is through communication. How you do that through communication is knowing what to say. For a guy, I know attraction switches for women. So I know the topics and things that to say will raise their energy up. And saying the opposite implications of those things plummets the energy. IODs will come. Disinterest will come. There are things for her too. It's just not the things that she thinks. She offers sex, touch, whatever. I mean, recently it was stupid. The innuendos that I was told that was said, directly penis and get lucky and these things. It's like, dude, you're seducing him with sex. Where's that going to lead? Where's it going to lead if you seduce him with sex? You need to seduce him with nurturing and interest, nurturing and interest and loyalty. And he has to be what you're looking for, right? That's the plight. It's difficult for women because the plight is that men have an image that they're going for. And you were born with something. Your value is more intrinsic to your genetics. You know what you're born with. Otherwise, you need to, I'm sure there's ways to be a super attractive female that even if you're not a super attractive female. And I've talked about those elsewhere, but that's beyond right now. So if you want that, then I want to wrap this up. Just send a message or something. Create an experience. So the experience is what opens them up. You must deliver an experience with your words and your sounds. It must open. Their heart must open. Their spine must open. Their head must open. Their posture must posture up. And they must open their breath, open their veins. Everything must open and relax through an experience. You take them through an experience and it opens up their mind. When their mind opens up, then you go to step 2 and 3. Okay. This is dope. When I'm inside you, you say this to the girl. When I'm inside you, it's processed in your mind. You process me inside you, in your mind. In your body, but in your mind, you process it. Because if you don't have those neurons that feel like if your brain's fucked up and you don't feel that part of your body, are you being fucked? So the nervous system has to work. It has to go to the brain. The brain, is the brain different from the mind? Just pretend for a second that the mind and the brain are whatever. They're two different things. There's the circuitry, but then there's the mind also that works with the software. And the mind processes me inside you. So that means imagining it. If you imagine it, that's in the mind too. So if you imagine me inside you, that's an experience similar to me actually being inside you. And when you speak with another guy, guess what he's doing in his mind? And so the experience is happening for him. And if you start daydreaming that, guess what's happening in your mind? And you want to talk about law of attraction, that's what's happening. So it's not that you need to always be so in control of your thoughts, because most of your thoughts aren't yours. They're just commercials that pop up. But if you start entertaining them, then, you know, that's where you take responsibility. That's your response. So that's where you take security, is in your ability to respond to the wicked thoughts that come up. Cover your face. Okay, a few more. You are where your attention is. Where your attention is where you are. You know? And you need to know that as a guy talking to her, that her attention, if you don't have her full attention, it's elsewhere. It doesn't mean it's always on another guy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes, a lot of times it's not. But if you don't have her full attention, you need to get a reference for having the woman's full attention so you can tell when she's not giving you full attention. That shit ruins the relationship, because you talk and teach her and she's not paying attention. You don't have her full attention. But that's a hard knocks. You get that through hard knocks, through realizing later after you've explained it 17 times and she still fucks it up, that she was never really paying attention. You wasted your time, you wasted your life, but you needed that understanding, that experience to grow. And we're seeking a loyal woman that we last through the experience with, so that when we grow, we can teach it to her. She's right in line, first available. She goes through the experience with us to learn, because we are the logic. We see the cause and effect and learn from the experiences, and then teach it to her. So she ascends, because ultimately she needs to be able to teach my son or daughter, even if it's my spiritual sons or daughters. That's what she needs to nurture. She needs to nurture. Okay. The chaos creates a new day for you. I love this phrase. The chaos, because the chaos is like uncertainty. I almost want to take off my shirt. I just came from yoga. I'm kind of sticky. The chaos the chaos is unknowns. You have unknowns, and it's a new experience, right? Because you don't know it. If it was familiar, you'd know. So if it's an unknown, it's a new experience. So the chaos of your day, if some drama happens with the woman, I'm learning to love it. Love my experience. I made a video today, but the audio was off on my Instagram, where I was like, learn to welcome the experience. I forget what the whole thing was, but the drama, I invented a word. It was called, I won't tell you now. I'll tell you another time. But I was being entertained by, the roller coaster inside, and I was embracing it, and embracing it lets the chaos flow. It was getting stuck inside by my resistance. And so this combines where your attention is. What was I saying about the attention? I don't think I finished that point. She's looking at her, talking to other guys. It fucks things up. Okay. I'm sure I could keep going, but I'll wrap it up. If there's any questions, go ahead and write them out. Mature, meaning takes care of her. Mature is taking care of her value. It's to take care of her value. Mature is also, there's dangerousness to it. A mature man is dangerous to the environment, not to her. The environment must register him as dangerous. If the environment does not register as dangerous, you will not be submissive to him in that environment. You'll be submissive to whatever the danger is in the environment. Okay? Without the maturity, dangerous is just a thug kind of quality. And without the dangerous quality, the take care of her is like a motherly quality. The man turns into a mother. So the dangerous and the take care of her. So it wasn't a note in here, but one of my biggest repeated mistakes that now I'm looking at is how I lose the take care of her value in the fight. That I must, but there's also a part of the fight where, let's say she violates you, let's say she cheated on you or something, you need to break it off. Then you stop taking care of her. And there's the delineation, you just stop taking care of her. Now, What does that mean? I mean, you just stop taking care of her. So the degree you take care of her is to the degree that she will be able to submit to you. And you just need to attract her to want you to take care of her and show her what you're able to take care of. And okay. So don't lose the perspective that you're taking care of her. As long as you see a future with her and she's, whatever those basic rules. Like I said, my basic rules: ladylike, not show too much skin. That's part of being a lady. Polite, respectful. Not talking to other guys. Then, I forgot what the key point was there. Anyway, okay. Let's see. Any comments? Nothing here. So okay, I said that one. Anything on Facebook? No, nothing here on Facebook. All right, everybody. So this is going in the Silent Flute Vault. There is a folder called The Philosophy of Love. There's now 4 lectures in it. I'll keep growing that as I see fit. I have 2 more on this set of notes that I'm going through. It has a lot to do with chaos, the female energy, and I think you really, really like it. If you're interested, just send me a little testimony about this lecture. I'll give you half off, or just join the Silent Flute, $77 a month for all the lectures, and there's a lot of lectures in there. It's all organized. And until next time, thank you. If you're catching this on Science of Spiritual Growth, I'm sure that was a ride for you. I wonder if it was any good for you. Najim says, is good to have a bunch of hoes with the good ones? No, they can't really mingle. They're two different. It's like the beliefs will get all fucked up. I mean, the good ones ultimately are your women. And if your women are the good ones, I mean, if I was a strip club owner or a pimp or something, I mean, I would have a different hierarchy kind of thing here, but I'm into good women, and hoes are talking to whatever guys. So they're going to have you'll see the difference. If a woman stays with you for a long time, she behaves like a woman she behaves like a lady. They're all women, but she behaves like a lady. The other woman behaves like a hoe. She's too flagrant. She's too loud. She shows too much skin. She touches too much. She's rude and rowdy. She says words that are unattractive to a lady. Like, I don't want to hear a lady say some of those things. She has a fighter energy. She's kind of skittish, like almost like the town mouse or something, because she's really not strong. She's just pretends like she is, but she's not. So can they mingle, have a bunch with the good ones? I mean, you can have a bunch of both. You just need to delineate. You take care of the good ones. If they want to be taken care of, you get their compliance. And, the hoes, I mean, I'm always spending money for like a lunch or a drink or this or that, but that's not taking care of them. It's like little, take care of them as you give a shit about them. If they're outside your vicinity, you still take care of them. Right? Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. Let people, I might do one of these tomorrow because I want to really wrap up these notes and move on. The No Fucks Notes is coming out. The boot camp is coming up. So if you're interested in going to the boot camp, the Arash Dibazar boot camp at the May summer solstice weekend, 1920, then send me a message for that and I'll talk with you about it. All right. Science of Spiritual Growth. Namaste. Science of communication is essential for your ascension. Without good communication, you are only digging deeper karmas with sense pleasures. And that's not a way to escape what's really happening here. And when you do escape, the freedom found within is immeasurable, like the blissful tears of realizing yourself. It's immeasurable, but it's worth it when you find it. So good day to you all.